Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina wa Nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. First to everyone here, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A couple of rules before we start this. If you've got a mobile phone, please reach out to it now and just put it on silent. If you've got a child with you, it's fine. Please, if they make any noise, sound, or whatever, you just need to your students are, our students and your children are here in Safar Academy. We've got a big responsibility together. And what we're going to talk about is how we can help each other in terms of getting them to be the best of tomorrow's future. Okay? We have your children less than 10% of the time. Okay, of the times they're outside school and outside sleeping. So sleeping for a typical child will probably be about 9-10 hours, right? So that's almost half the day gone. And the other times school, so school will probably be about 6-7 hours, including getting ready for school. But let's just say 6 hours, just say school time, 9 to 3, typical hours. So 6 hours times 5 is again gone. Now, what you're left with, you've got to literally look at what you're left with. What you're left with is the morning time that you've got, and that's before school on Monday to Friday. You've got the evening time, and even then, you've got sometimes extracurricular activities that the students do or the children will do. And then you've got the weekends, and alhamdulillah, on the weekends, they come here in the morning and they spend the full morning with us, but then the rest of the day is with you. So if you do the calculations of the times they're with you on all the evening times, the bit of the morning times, the weekdays, the rest of the weekend times, and you make a calculation to how much time we've got with your children and how much time you've obviously got more. Now what that does is it tips the balance. You normally, if you think that teachers are, it's their duty to give Islam to our children, yes, let's break it down. Theoretically, we're going to explain Islam to your children, right? Most of that is going to come from us. Practically, we're going to try our best for those, 7.5 hours, wherever they're with us. Practically, we're going to do our best for them to be around us and for them to see the Islam from us. But we're very limited. You have to understand that we're very limited. What you will get is when your children are with us, they're in a suhbah. Suhbah means companionship. Companionship is one of the strongest ways of molding children. Okay, it's one of the strongest ways. You don't have to be a preacher. Remember this. You don't have to be a preacher knowing so many ayats and ahadith and knowing so much about Islam to get your children to become Islamic. But if you are someone who's got the akhlaq, who's got the character got the norms of Islam in your life, your children guaranteed will at least be to that level or near to that level. So what I'm trying to say to you is, if you're getting up for your fajrs, if you're doing your dhuhr, if you're doing your asr, maghrib, isha, if you're concerned about your salah, if you're concerned about your hijab and you're wearing your hijab and you're practically just doing that as a normal woman, if as a man you are making sure that there are no, there's nothing that's haram being displayed, whether it's haram from the mouth, haram from what you're doing, your actions, your behavior. As a woman, you're not doing something which is something that is against your good akhlaq and good character. If you're not doing that, that is a very good basis of good suhbah and good companionship. And any human being that stays with another human being with good akhlaq and good character, normally, you don't realize it, you actually start to take some of that in you. Let me give you an example. If you've ever been in a masjid and you've seen an Uncle G in a masjid, and you get all sorts of, everyone comes in all sorts of, shapes and sizes. But if you ever met an Uncle G in the masjid who's actually a very nice, gentle, good uncle in the masjid, and he has his good akhlaq, and he doesn't know much. He's probably never preached to you anything because he doesn't know. But what he did have is he had good akhlaq and good character. If you knew do that uncle in the masjid and you spend time with him, you actually like to spend time with him, and you actually, over time, you begin, without realizing, you begin to actually adopt some of his methods inside you. Same as aunts. If you ever met an aunt or someone who had that kind of thing in your life, and you ever came across them and you spent some time with them over time, you would have absorbed some of that in you. Tell me yes or no. Yes? Right. I've had people like that, in my early days when I used to go to the masjid. They're normal, good people. You stay around with them, and inshallah, you start to pick up things from them. Now, what we need from a very basic thing from all of you parents is you've got to become that very good uncle and that very good aunt. You've got to become that as a parent. Of course, your parents, you love them. But you know what? What you don't realize is you've got to do everything in the right measure. The key thing is to balance. Anything in life Allah has created, there's always a balance. Somewhere in the middle is very comfortable. Somewhere on this side of the spectrum, it's very uncomfortable, and somewhere on this side of the spectrum, it might be whatever feelings you have, but it's going to cause you damage, right? So let me give you an example. Temperature. Temperature for human beings, if you keep it between 21 and 23 Celsius, it's the most comfortable temperature humans find, right? Of course, if the outside gets too hot, then people like to get into 16, 17 degrees. And if the outside is too cold, then people sometimes like to get a bit more. But if you keep yourself generally 21 to 23 degrees Celsius, then you find it very comfortable for the human being. You go below 21, it gets uncomfortable because it's too cold. You go above 23, it gets uncomfortable because it gets too hot, right? That's with temperature. Let's say, for example, we're talking about sound. Sound has a measurement. There's a certain amount of sound that is good for the human being that they find acceptable. Let's say I'm talking right now. I'm actually raising my voice slightly because I want to make sure that the people at the back can hear, and also we've got a recording going on here. So I want to make sure that happens. But normally, if I was to talk like this would be fine in a normal conversation. If I drop from this, and I went like this and start to talk, that would be a bit uncomfortable. That would be uncomfortable if I dropped it. If I raised it and said, yeah, how are you? You alright? Yeah, good. That's a bit uncomfortable because you can see the balance is not there. There's a balance that we have in speech. There's a balance in walk. There's a balance in talk. There's a balance in speed of language. Right? Everything Allah has created is balanced. So if I was to talk this fast and I was to try and get my information across to you, if I go to that fast, you'll find it uncomfortable. If I was to slow it down and I was to say to you that, can you see, if I slow it down, it gets a bit boring. If I go too fast, it's like irritating. It's like you've got to take so much information in your head, and it's too much, then you switch off. Everything Allah has created in a balance. In a balance. When you get the balance right, in this world, it'll be fine. If you got the amount of light, let's talk about light. When it's too bright, it's uncomfortable. When it's too dark, it's uncomfortable. When it's just right, it's fine. Same thing you've now got to apply to children. In every single scale of this child's life, there are many scales that you've got to balance with the child. And if you can get the balance right, you have got the job right. So let's say, for example, emotions. A child will have emotion. Naturally, they're going to have more emotions than probably what we have. As adults, we're able to contain our emotions. We're able to, control them. We're able to, sort of deal with them a lot better than children. Children, they'll cry, and children, they'll get very happy. Sometimes they're off on the balance this way a lot, and sometimes they're that way. What you've got to understand is you've got to try and tip it in the middle, right? Now to get the middle, you're going to look, it's going to go like this. It's going to go like this. And where you want to end up is you want to end up here. Right? You want to end up balanced. In every single part of the emotions, as long as you end up somewhere in the middle, that's fine. What happens is, what you could do is, the child is born not knowing whether to take it that side, take that side, right? The child doesn't know. It's our job as a parent, as a teacher, to try and get the child to get balanced. This is key. If you can understand what I'm trying to say to you, you'll get a lot of things right. Now, how do you know where the balance is? How do you know? Well, how you know is, let's go back to the temperature example. How did you know that 19 degrees wasn't, or 18 degrees wasn't right? It's because you felt a little bit chilly. You felt chilly, something was wrong, you felt chilly. How do you know 25, 26 degrees was not the right temperature? Again, you felt a bit uncomfortable. Now, you have to go to the uncomfortable zone, taste it, realize something is not right, and bring it back again. How did you know how much salt to put in your stews or your curries? How do you know? Because there was a day when you put too much salt. And there was another day when you put too less salt. It's going to happen. Has any man or woman cooked ever without getting that balance wrong? No. The balance you will get wrong. But in getting it wrong is the way to get it right. Because if you don't know where the wrongs are, you won't know where the right is. Has everyone understood that? So that means that I as a parent have to make a mistake. You as a parent are going to have to make a mistake. Like one day you allowed your child to get too excited. And you're going to realize that, no, I'm not that excited. I don't want my child to get that excited. Another day you realize that my child was, too sort of sad or whatever, and I let it go along for too long. You'll find that something is not right. Why is my child reacting like this? Now, if you can early enough start to recognize the signs and you get the balance right, things will be fine, trust me. Now, the law to this is, if you look at how Allah's created us, is never give too much and never give too less in anything. So let me give another example. When you're having food and you're eating, there's always a point. If you go over that point, your stomach feels, there's a bit of a pain in your stomach, or there's a bit of, you feel very awkward because you've overeaten, and now you've got to try and digest it, and you kind of feel, your stomach's bloated. You feel that the burps are coming up. You feel like you can't even get up and do anything because you've overeaten. And there's other times when you undereat. So you've eaten, you walk away from the table, and then you get hungry quite quickly, you get peckish, and you want to be back there. Or you can't go to sleep because the stomach's, all churning, you haven't got enough food in there. Now, overeating, undereating again are two things that, once you do them, you realize that you're not supposed to do. So what happens is, with these children, as they're growing up, you'll get one balance wrong, you'll get another balance wrong, and in between somewhere you'll realize that, I've got to keep them exactly there, because I should never overeat. If you overeat, you're going to start making yourself obese. If you undereat, you're going to make yourself very, thin, skinny, whatever, malnutrition. You're going to suffer from malnutrition and so on, and it's not going to be good for your health. Now, the same thing with this child. If you give them too much love, you will spoil them. They will start to disobey you. They will disobey you with pleasure. Right? They will actually not listen to you, and they will feel it's fine. It's mom and dad. Mom and dad are fine. Mom and dad are always, they're always huggy, they're always kissy, which is fine. We want to give kisses, we want to give hugs, we want to give, all of those things, fine. We want to give love. But if you overdo it, what happens is they become complacent, they become audacious, thinking that, I can do this with my mom, I can do this with my dad, because my dad, when they discipline me, it's like, better, or, son, you just don't do that, which is good, but there's got to be, you've got to early on try and teach them that this is not what we do. How do you, the earlier you start, the better you get that balance tipped right. So now, too less love. That is going to spoil the child. That is going to cause a lot of emotional, problems within the child, because the child is now deprived of the love that they should have had. One of the key problems with a lot of parents, they don't understand when they get the balance wrong, is They come and they'll complain, my child is not listening to me. And the key problem they don't understand is they were the first problem for the child not listening to them. I can tell you 10 out of 10 times, I'm going to say it's the parent's fault that the child is not listening. And you're going to say to me, no, that's a bit harsh. You're going to say, look, you're taking it. No. I've got 3 children on myself. My brother, all my brothers have got children. My sister has children. I've seen children with relatives grow. I've seen families, friends, others and their children. I've been to so many functions, so many places, and I've seen children. And when I've seen children behaved and disciplined, it's always because the parents got it right. When I see children not behaving, not disciplined, it's always you look at the parent and you can see that they're letting go of things, right? So to give you an example, okay, a parent comes to me. This is, I've had several parents say this to me. There's been one in North London that came and saw me, desperately seeking help because the child is actually, addicted to the games. I traveled to USA just a few weeks back, and a parent came over there to me and said, Hamza, please, help me. And I'm saying, why? What is it? And he said, my child is playing a lot of these games, PlayStation 4. So I said, how many hours? And the parents said 4 to 5 hours a day. Okay, 4 to 5 hours a day. So I said straight away, I said, it's your fault. And the parent was, no, you don't look, tell me what to do. I said, look, first recognize it's your fault. It's your household's fault. It's your wife's fault. It's your fault. First, accept the fact that you've got things wrong. And I said, where you've really got it wrong is you should have got down to this way before the child is getting onto 5 hours a day. Because there's a balance. If you get the balance wrong, you've lost it. So let's talk about the balance. A lot of these kids now, they need to have some of these games. Without that, they will make your life out of hell. Right? Because all their friends have got it. If they go to school, all the friends are talking about it. They're going to be the lost child in school, feeling like, I don't have this. They want to be part of what's going on. We understand that. So they need some of these games, whether it's your Xbox, whether it's PS. I'm not saying you have to give it. Guys, if you can stay away from all that and you can still have a good life, mashallah, alhamdulillah, right? That's really good. Honestly, I'm saying if you can do that and if you can carry on, that's my first thing. But if you feel that, my child really needs this, or I need to give it just to balance things out, fine. If you're going to give it, then the next step is how do you balance the thing of them not getting addicted? Because once they get addicted, you've got a serious problem. So the first problem was that they didn't have it. It was like a lack of console games. So you can see the balance is here, right? Then you gave it to them, the balance is tipping. You need to stop it about here. If you don't stop it, what will happen is over time, it's going to go down to the other side, and they're addicted to this. They can't think, live, eat, sleep, except without these games. But when do you know it's getting to the addiction level? How do you know that? Can anyone tell me from what I've said before, how would you know to find the balance? Anyone tell me?
You feel it.
You feel it. How do you feel it? I want to know. Give me some examples. Any example.
Well, basically, if you say to your child to do something, and they play the game, and they're like, no, I'm going to play the game.
Thank you. Brilliant. You tell your child to do something. Or you tell the child to stop. And they say, no. Now, if you let that go, and you allow them a little bit more, tell me, what did you do with your love? Did you give too less or too much at this time? Come on, what did you do? Too much, right? Good. Now you're going to suffer. You're going to suffer. At that point, the whole thing's supposed to be, I am the person responsible for your balance. I've got to get you balanced, right, in life, so that you don't tip over in anything too much. At this moment, you're tipping over here slightly. You're not listening to me. And you're carrying on playing. And I'm standing by and I'm accepting it. I've allowed you another half an hour to play. I told you half an hour ago to get off and you snoozed me. That's what kids do, they snooze you. right? You tell them, Ahmad, it's coming. Snooze number 1. Right? Ahmad, after 5, Ahmad, you're coming, the route is ready, you're coming. I'm coming. Snooze number 2. Look, snooze number 1, snooze number 2. Ahmad, you're coming, come. Okay, I'm coming. Like, now he's on his way to come, but he's already tipped it off here. Today he came, his balance was here. Tomorrow, do you think when you say, Ahmad, come, he's going to come here, or he's likely to come here and maybe a little bit more? Which one? Right, that's it. He's gonna go a little bit more. So then you end up, what happens is the first few times you called them, they didn't come straight away. You got the balance wrong. You accepted the balance to be like this. He thought that was straight. He thought that's cool. My parents are so cool. That's what straight is. If it looks like this, yeah, that's balanced. But if it looks like that, that's not balanced, right? So he's thinking, it's fine. My parents allow it. I can do that, right? Now what happens is, as time moves along, you start, today it was with a bit of roti and a bit of, food that was ready, and he snoozed you 3 times. Tomorrow, he will, when he gets older, as he's getting older, as she's getting older, the snoozes are gonna get more heavier and more profound, and they will actually get to the point where they will say, I don't have to do it. Why do I have to do it? They will actually get to the stage where they question your whole authority, your whole obedience thing. They will say, well, why? No, I'm not going to do it. They will actually storm away from you, right? There come a point when they'll storm away from you, and they're going to go off in a hump, and you can't do anything about it. Now, if you want to stop all of that, the first time the child throws a tantrum, you've got to get the balance right. And it's not easy. Now, I had to do this with all my 3 kids. And it takes, they will give you a good mental beating. Let's put it. They will challenge you, and they will make you feel emotionally, they will deprive you emotionally of some love that you should have had from them. And they'll deprive you. Now, there's funny things that children do. And I'll tell you one thing, girls do it very differently than boys. Girls do it very different than boys. Okay? I'll give you an example of my girl. So my daughter is like 5, maybe 5, 4 or something, and what she does is she comes to my lap, and she's lying here, that's fine. And when you're picking her up like this and she's just lying here, after about 10 minutes, after about 15 minutes, your arm's gonna ache, so you want us to drop your arm and say, look, it's okay. Now she wants to be picked up, okay, fine. Picked up for a little while, that's enough, right? So what then she does is, she sits down and she just falls back, right, expecting me to grab her. And I do grab her, right? So I grabbed her once, and then she does it again, she falls back again, and I have to grab her, so I grabbed her. And I'm doing that for another, 10, 15 minutes, whatever, and she's enjoying it. And I said, look, Daddy's really tired, and my arm's really aching. That's enough, right? That's enough. Please, no, I'll do it some other time, not now. And she still wants it. Now look, what's happened to the balance? The balance is tipped, because now she wants more and more. Now look, I've come to my limits, it's enough. Now she should listen to me, right? So I actually said to her, if you drop again, I'm not going to hold you. So now she's heard that. Now I know she's not going to crack her head or anything. She's going to fall on the sofa, maybe just roll over to the floor. I know that's going to happen. So I said, if you do it again, I'm not going to hold you. I made it quite clear to her. So I'm watching what I'm watching, and then she did it again. She fell backwards, and I didn't hold her. So she went onto the sofa, and then she sort of, came onto the ground, and then she was in a hump. Right? So the hump was, you don't love me. Right? I don't love her. Right? Okay, fine. If that's your statement, that's your statement. Now at that time, what I could do, look, this is where you get if she said to me, first she disobeyed me, right? So, or she didn't do what I told her to do, so she's already gone there, right? Then when she actually falls back and gets up and says to me, you don't love me, she's testing my limits, and she's taking it here, seeing what will I do. Normally what parents will do at that time, just to make sure, you kind of appease, you kind of go to their side. No, dear, don't say that. I do love you. Of course I love you. Now, if you start saying that, what do they do? No, you don't love me. No, you don't love me. You don't love me, right? And then now you're on the chasing side, they're on the running side, and then what it is that they're waiting for you to say sorry to them. It's like, it's your fault, and you're going to make me say sorry to you. Yeah? In my dictionary, I'll be honest with you, that doesn't exist. Right? So, that's what, if you know where it goes wrong, this is where it goes wrong. You start chasing them, you start saying, no, are you okay? Are you alright? Whatever. Get back, I love you, give them a hug straight away. And now what you're doing is you're trying to massage their disobedience. You're trying to say that I'm going to be so good to you because you never actually listened to me in the first place. You hurt yourself on your own accord for your own fault, but somehow it's my fault. And I'm going to accept that. I'm going to show you, everything's going to be right. You know what that means? That means next time I make a mistake, my parents are going to then be there for me, and they'll go their 100 yards to make sure that nothing ever comes near me. So you know what? I've got an extra 99 yards to do what I want. Right? That's what happens. So what did I do with my daughter? I just stayed silent. She said, you don't love me. I stayed silent. So she went off on a hump. I didn't go behind her. I let her go. How far she's going to go? How far she's going to go? How long? She said, oh, fine. I can't just stay there. Then I came upstairs, and you know what she's doing? She's waiting by the stairs somewhere. Like this. It's like, please notice me. I'm having a very bad day because of you. My face says it all. And she was very moody on the stairs, and I came and I saw her, and I just walked past her. I had to be cruel to be kind. This is what you've got to understand, because you've got to bring the balance back here. To bring it back here, you've got to let them be hurt a little. Right? So I walked past, then after a little while, she comes into my bedroom, and she just, she walks like this, and walks like as if I am upset. Daddy, can't you see it? Are you blind? I'm like, I've seen you. Fine. So then after a while, the mum says, what's wrong with her? So I said, just leave it between us. It's going to be fine. See, this is another problem. If at that moment the other parent comes in and says, oh, what's wrong with you? Oh, what happened? Oh, my darling, everything will be fine. Oh my God, what's the drama for, man? Most of the time when one parent tries to balance it, another parent just mucks it up. Right? So you've got to then say, look, we've both got to be equal in this. If you cannot get that right, oh my God, you've got a serious problem. Because every time the dad tries to balance it, the mum tries to balance it, then the dad spoils you, or the mum spoils it. One or the other parent spoils you. So I said to my wife, look, keep out of it. It's between us. We're going to sort it out. So she said, well, she's looking upset. I said, yeah, keep out of it. Just have a good day. Get on with your stuff. Just leave me to her, right? So then what happens is my daughter then complains to my wife and says, Daddy did this. Daddy doesn't love me. Daddy let me fall down. He let me fall down. He should have caught me. If he caught me, then he loved me. Since he never caught me, he doesn't love me. Right? So my wife came and told me, she's saying this. I said, look, just stay out. 2 hours later, from the incident, 2 hours later, she actually comes all the way, she sits right beside me with the hump again. I'm carrying on with whatever I'm doing. So then I turned around to her and I said, look, are you going to say sorry to me? She's like, what? You say sorry to me? I said, no, I'm not going to say sorry to you. I want you to say sorry to me because this is your wrong. I explained it to her, she never took it, she went off on another hump, I'm not going to say sorry, this and that. She spent another 10, 20 minutes. Right, fine. My thing is, you know what? I know in this house, as a 5-year-old and an adult here, I know you're going to be craving for my love in a little while. So who's got the upper hand? Who's got the upper hand? I've got the upper hand. I don't need to lower myself down and say, Your Royal Highness, please forgive me. I don't need to do that. So you keep your upper hand, but honestly, you don't need to do this. You know why? By the time you get to 12, 13, you're going to see that they've got a kind of an upper hand coming, right? And you're going to get scared that time. If you haven't done your discipline by that time, they're going to rule you. They will rule you at that time. So what I did, I said, no, fine. I'll wait for you to say sorry. After another 20 minutes later, she came. She said, sorry. Then I said to her, look, did you understand what happened? So I explained the full thing. She said, sorry, okay. We hugged each other, kissed each other, fine, back to normal. Now, this is the other side. Look, now that she made her effort to go from here to here, which hurt her, right? I don't need to go this side to make things, go, no, now I don't need to be extra kind to her. I don't need to, now after a sorry, I don't need to be extra kind, no. And I don't need to blame her for things. I don't need to pick up the incident again. I don't need to say, oh, you did this, you did that. No, I just leave it there. Once it's there, just keep it there. Just keep it there. Sometimes a parent might get something wrong. Let's say this happened. For example, one kid came and one kid said, this happened. And then, another kid came and they're in an argument. And sometimes you might sort of side with one child and you actually got it wrong. You got it wrong. You blamed the wrong child for what happened. And straight away you will realize that you made a mistake. Because normally, when your kid's in the wrong and they're trying to pretend they're in the right, they will react in a certain way. But when your kid's in the right and you said they're in the wrong, they will react in a very different way. It's like, no, I wouldn't do that. No, I've never done that. And they, the reaction told me that, you know what? My son is telling me the truth. My daughter's probably not telling me the truth. But I didn't see anything because both of them were somewhere else and they came to me and I had to deal with it. Now, I knew that I got it wrong with my son. So now what I've done is, look, I've tipped it this way. I'm the one in the wrong. So I actually went up to my son. I made up. I said sorry. I apologized. I went back. I looked, heard everything again. I said, you know what? I actually think that my son is right here. Hugged him and I actually apologized to my child. Do you see what I did there? The balance went here, and then I had to this time suffer to bring it back here again. Parents, if they don't do that side as well, you're going to grow up with children who will not like you, who will have a problem with you, because they know that when dad's wrong, when mom's wrong, they can't admit to their wrong, and that hurts them. So both ways, I've just given you one example. Both ways, we've got to try and keep the balance in everything. SubhanAllah, I remember, these British kids. The British kids at the age of 10-ish, 10 I would say, that's the first time when they start backchatting. Back talk, backchatting. You say something, they say something back. You say something, they say something back. No, it wasn't like that. No, I didn't do that. No. You say, Mariam, you left your plate here. No, it wasn't me. Well, it's all your plate. Well, Wait, hang on a minute. Who's in charge here? Who's in charge? Parents. If the daughter or the son can talk back to you when you don't want them to talk back to you, then again, they've tipped the balance. Slightly. If you allow them to carry on doing that, there's actually a parent we're dealing with now in one of our branches. I'm not going to say which branch, okay? I was shocked. Okay, the child is very good in Safar Academy. The child will not answer back to the teachers, never. But the child, when the parent came from the child, I was shocked. I'm sitting there. The parents trying to say to us, look, my son doesn't listen. My son is very, and the child is sitting. We're talking about a 14-year-old child. Sitting right behind him, and the 14-year-old child is saying, no dad, that's not what happened. No dad, it's not like that. I'm thinking, whoa, this has gone too far. And you know where it started? It started at 9-10. What should have happened is the first instant when your child gives you back chat and they go like that, you stop. Forget the issue. Forget what you were talking about. Forget everything else. The first thing is, how do you tip the balance and take it your way, and you're taking authority in your hands? How do you do that? Because if you take a little bit today, take a little bit tomorrow, take a little bit tomorrow, then you're going to be in charge and I'm not going to be in charge. Right? So I stopped the conversation. I said, hang on, why did you speak back to me? And he's still speaking back to me. I said, can you stop speaking back to me? And he's still speaking back to me. And I said, you stop speaking back to me, otherwise I'm going to have to tell you to take time out. Now look, I know a lot of us, when we were young, the easy way to sort us out was, PASH! one padash, and you would never speak back again. You didn't need a second medicine, right? One tablet was enough, right? But you can't do that now, right? You can't do that. So what do? So we need to know what you do in this modern age. So I said, okay, you spoke back to me. I said, go to that wall right in front of me. Go and look at the wall, face the wall. Just stand there. I said, calm down. I want you to calm down first. You stand there. When you've calmed down and you learn how to speak to me properly, then we'll have the conversation. So I gave him time after. I'm looking at the clock. Normally 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Okay, come back. And when he comes back after 3 minutes, I can still see, you know, the body emotional behavior, or the behavior, the body behavior that you see tells you what's going on. So I saw that he wasn't still clicking. So I said, go back. Because he's still giving me half a back chat. I said, go back. Stand there for another few minutes. So another few minutes goes. Then comes back. I said, look, you want to speak to me, fine. I will listen to you. But you've got to do it in the situation when dad's talking to you, you're talking to dad. We can't both talk at the same time. So let me get off my chest what I want to say to you. You have to stand there and listen. And then after that, I will give you time to speak to me, but only with permission. So I just speaking, they're like, you know, they want to just burst out and say something to you. No. Stay quiet. I will listen to you. When you want to say, and especially, you know, when there's two children and they're arguing with one another, two of your children arguing with one another, they can't speak over you, speak over each other. There's going to be discipline here. You speak. While you're speaking, you cannot speak. You stay quiet now. Now you speak, and while you're speaking, she can't speak. Right? And then you get the balance out. So when I'm speaking, I don't want two of you to speak. That way what's happened is, you've been accepted as the one with the authority. And it's so important because, you know what, if you allow children to give you back chat, they'll go from this, and when it gets to that, they're going to be like that 14-year-old. Talking over the dad in front of me and another sheikh while we're sitting there, and we're thinking, you know what we said? We said to the father, we said, come back another day and come back yourself without your child. We want to talk to you first. And then we're going to talk to your child, and then hopefully we talk to both of you together, because this is not working. Your child in front of us is talking over you. I mean, you know, the question is, how long have you allowed that to go on for? Right? How long have you allowed that to go on for? Now, the other extreme to that, the other side of the balance is that you never let your children ever talk. Right? So you're like, no, be quiet. No, you don't know anything. No, you don't know anything. Stay quiet. What do you know? And that kind of attitude where you're always putting authority over them and never letting them have this piece of, you know, speaking their mind, you know what will happen? They will cut you out of their lives. Kids need to speak. We need to hear them. Kids will talk gibberish. We need to hear the gibberish. If there's anything really badly wrong, we'll deal with it. But we need to know what's wrong. If your kids don't speak to you, if they don't bring what's inside them out to you, what do you know what's inside them? Imagine it's all closed up. Imagine they feel that, you know what, I'm never going to speak to my parents because my parents really don't want to, every time I speak, I've always done something wrong, I've always getting told off, I'm this, that, so what they'll do, they'll shut themselves off. That's real bad on your side, because you don't even know what's inside them. Let the child tell you. In school, they spoke about this kid did that kid, let them bring it up. And very subtly deal with it, without them feeling, oh my God, why did I say that? Because the moment they feel, oh my God, I can't speak anymore, then you'll never know what's inside them, and you don't want to be in that position. But of course, at the same time, you don't want them to say so much to you that, you know, they don't have respect for you. You've got to always look at that balance. Where is it? And get it right. When you've got it right, what will happen to you is your children will speak to you. You have a good conversation with children. There's a respect in the house. They love you, you love them. And at a very early age, you've got to get them to do things as a normal life. So for example, if you allow your children to get out of bed and not make their bed up, guaranteed throughout the whole life more or less, or throughout the teenage life, throughout maybe adult life, they won't make the bed up. And whose fault was that? Yes. Let's take blame on ourselves. If you make it that I want to have this room Every time I walk in here, I want it clean. I want to have the bed, tidy. I want to have your toys out the way. I want to have this place, when you take a toy out, you teach them how to put it back and take a new toy out. And then you play with it, put it back. Now, of course, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds won't get that right. But you would expect a 5, 6-year-old to get that right, and they should be able to get it right. If you're giving breakfast to your child at the age of 7, at the age of 8, at the age of 9, at the age of 10, guaranteed, at the age of 11, 12, 13, 14, your children will want breakfast from you. In fact, they'll be waiting for you. 14-year-old does shadi today, will have children tomorrow. He's waiting for me to come downstairs and give him breakfast. Are you serious? Where did it go wrong? It went wrong with me. As soon as they're ready to try and make their own breakfast, whether it's cereal, whether it's bowl, whether it's milk. Okay, fine, let them smash bowls. Let them break things. Let them spill the milk. They're going to get old because they're trying to find wisdom. They're trying to find their own balance. And when they're trying to do that, be okay with them. I've never told off a child in my house for breaking an item. My wife has never done that either. For spilling the milk, for the honey jars coming straight down and crashing on the ground, Nutella all over the table and whatnot, okay? You all know it happens in your house. The thing is simple. You spilled it, you clean it. Simple. At the age of 6, 7, they can go, they can get the cloth themselves, they can get the wet tissue, they can come over here, wipe it. They might not do 100% of a job, but at least you taught them how to clean their mess. You can go there and make it 100% later on. But get them to do 70, 80%, 90% of it. Soon you'll get them to do 100 when they're a bit older. Okay? But get them to know, I've spilled it, it's a mistake. Mistakes are part of humans' lives. It will always happen. We made as many mistakes we're trying to make our children not do, we did all of them. But the good thing about humans is once you make this mistake and that mistake and that mistake, you learn not to make mistakes. You can learn not to make mistakes only by making mistakes. No human is ever born that ta-da, I got it right first time, okay? Unless Allah's given you a very gifted talent in one thing only. Some kids, some adults, they're naturally gifted with something, right? You might be naturally gifted in sports. It might be in one particular sport. It might be in running. You're gifted. So gifted and talented is a very special case. Don't judge the whole of human race on the gifted and talented people. Unfortunately, today's generation has become the, what's that, Britain's Got Talent one? Right? It's a real, I know people see it, right? But it's a real shame. Because what they're doing is they're taking the anomaly, they're taking the exception from the whole rest of the population, and they're showing that as, this is what people can achieve, right? There are a lot of, problems with that, but all I want to say to you is that just because your first child was okay to do something doesn't mean your second child can do, is bad when they're done with that same thing. Because Allah has given different things to different children. And each one will come with different challenges, different things. So one will have sabr here, another one will have sabr here. One will be, but this one who has sabr here might actually have a problem with arrogance, right? Or might not have a problem with arrogance. This one might have a problem with something else, with jealousy. You just don't know. Each person is given different amounts of different things which make them unique as individuals. And what we're going to do is child number 1, balance it with their emotions. Child number 2, balance it. Child number 3, balance it. Now, child number 1 with jealousy, they've got to balance it. Child number 2, 3, same thing. Child number 1, again, with the amount of confidence. We need to balance that so they're confident to do certain things. There's got to be a point where you've got to let your children do things, everything more or less on their own. So children at the age of 10 can easily start ironing their clothes. Will they burn themselves? Are you too scared they're going to burn themselves? But let me ask you a question. Did you burn yourself? Anyone here that has ever ironed and never burned themselves, even a touch of the iron, they've never done that, can put your hands up. Never had a touch of oh my God, we've got an anomaly here. We've got gifted and talented here in ironing. Most of you, have had a touch of the iron, right? I've had the touch of the iron. And when you have the touch of the iron, you learn not to do it again. Of course, you didn't burn the house down. You didn't do that, and that's the good thing, but you learn how to iron, and that's how you learn how to iron. With all the things in life, for example, we go to a lot of, I tell you one other thing that we need from these children is, we need them to be part of a normal social life without technology. It's becoming a massive problem which a lot of parents don't see, don't understand. I do a lot of traveling and I see parents, and it's very unfortunate when parents have to give their phone to the child or have to give a tablet to the child just to make them quiet. Me and my wife decided quite long ago that we're not going to do that. First we did give them it, and then we found out that there were more problems. Because what happens is when the child is on the phone and they're playing on your phone, they're getting, they're now cut off from all the surroundings. They've cut off from everything. They're enjoying this so much. They're enjoying this so much because they're playing a little game, they're doing something, they're watching something, and it's like their brain is now releasing these serotonins, releasing these little chemicals inside that make them feel good, right? And they feel that it's exciting. That excitement comes from what they're watching, what they're sensing, and what the brains are releasing in terms of these little chemicals inside, and they're engaged in this, loving it. The problem is the moment you remove it. Because when you remove that phone, now look at the world is not moving. The world doesn't have things bouncing around. The world doesn't have 50 colors changing, interchanging, right? The world doesn't allow me to control it. The world is something where I've got to move. I've got to physically move. The world is with people who have got serious conversations. It's boring. This is where the problem comes in. So the thing is, when you're traveling with children, or when you're with guests, or when you've gone to a wedding, or when you've gone to any social grounds, completely ban them having any technology. You know why? Because that's the only time they will get to spend with other human beings and understanding how to build a rapport. It's a skill, it's a lifetime skill that they need. We've got now a generation of kids growing up. They're so smart at computers, so smart at websites, and you give him a mouse and a computer, he'll be whiz-kid, and he'll create something, and you think, wow, how do you do that? You give him a smartphone, they're like, yeah, Dad, I've done it. How do you do that? Right? You don't even understand. They're so smart at that. But then you come to a normal conversation in a normal setting with one-to-one interaction with a real human being, they can't do it. Because they're used to texting. There's a problem with I don't know if you realize, I read up on all of this. The problem with texting is this. If I'm texting you, right, as I text, I'm going to sometimes delete. Sometimes I'm going to move the sentences around. Sometimes I'll reread it, and I get a chance to edit this, edit that, move this around. Sometimes I can create another paragraph here. By the time I've finished with it, obviously it's taking me maybe 10, 20 minutes to create it. It's only a little piece of information I'm giving. It sounds super, right? Because I got so much time to edit that and send it to you. Problem is, in real life, when you're speaking to someone, you got no time to say, hey, hold on. Time for me to think. I'm going to think what I'm saying. Wait, should I say this? Should I say that? Or should I edit? Okay, wait. I'm ready to speak to you. You can't do that in real life. You've got to speak straight. And there's so much going on that these children need that because of a real life. Where is life? Is life in technology? Is life here? Life is here. That is just a little part of their life. Now they need all of this because what's happening is, I'm being honest with you. May Allah forgive us and may Allah protect us. But the divorce rate is not going down, it's going up. The issues that these 20-year-olds are having, or 30-year-olds are having when they get married, is a lot more than the issues we had 30, 40 years ago. Even 20 years ago when you got married, the issues that we had with that generation and the issues you're having with this generation are night-day difference. And we have to understand that these kids are they're brought up for a different generation. But we've got to also ask ourselves the question, what happened to these children? So there's a whole theory of the millennials, okay? That means that what happened is after some point in the 80s, after that, parents went a bit this way. Bit like, this way, as in, I am gonna, you're right, my darling, you're right, it's gonna be fine, mom is gonna look after you, it's gonna be fine, and you actually go out your way to make, your child's life so comfortable. Nothing can go wrong. Oh my God, even if there's a paper that was wrong, you go up to the teacher and say, why didn't my child get a higher number? Why not? This and that. So you're there complaining and get all infuriated because of the child's mistake, because the child didn't, the child didn't do the maths, he didn't do the sum, or she didn't do it, and you're going across and you're trying to show hump and bump, my child should be here, my child should be there, and the child sees a world where mommy and daddy are really lifting them up. Let me tell you one thing with walking. All your children have you saw them walk. You saw them learn how to walk. Tell me, did the child fall? Come on. Yes. Did the child fall more than once? Yes. Did the child, did you try and help the child a little bit? Yes. Did you carry on helping them, holding their hand, like each time they want to walk, they say, Daddy, they're 2 years old, Daddy, want to walk? So you go over here. Yeah, this is how, yeah. Did you hold their hand till they were 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old? Every time they want to walk, they say, Mommy or Daddy, I can't walk myself, I need to hold your hand. Did you ever do that? No. Well, in school life, in the normal life, in everything they're doing, if you carry on making comforts, you're making this comfortable, school is got to be comfortable, this is got to be comfortable, you can have no complaint in life. I want to make your breakfast comfortable, your lunch comfortable, which we're going to get to a certain degree, but you're going, overcompensating. I want to make sure that you have enough pocket money, I want to make sure you have this, I want to make sure you have, your bed is this, your this is that, your that, I want to put a TV in your bedroom, I want to make your life very, very, very nice. I want you to grow up feeling that you had everything in life that I could give you. You know what they say, the latest research is? Those kids grow up to be unthankful and they grow to be impatient. This is real research. They say that if 8 out of 10 times you say yes to children for their extra demands. When I mean by extra demands, I'm talking about things that they didn't have to have. Like, I'm talking about basic necessities you have to give them. So food, clothing, stay, and some other basic necessities you're going to give them. Beyond the basic necessities, beyond the basic comforts that any parent, any person would give their children, when they're asking for their extra things, like Dad, I want this toy. Mom, I'd like to have that. Oh, I want to buy this. I want to have this sweet. I want to have this chocolate. In all those areas, when they're demanding in extra things for themselves, if 8 out of 10 times you say yes to them, 2 out of 10 times you say no to them, your children will grow up to be miserable, they'll be unthankful, ungrateful, and they will be impatient. Because their life was something where they got a lot of stuff from their parents. 8 out of 10 times you're getting stuff, it's like, yeah, that's what life is. Life is whenever you want something, you get it. Most of the times you get it. Can you imagine when they hit the age of 18, 20, and now they've got to find a job, they've got to work, they've got to go through these studies with these debts on their shoulders. You know how hard and how tough life's going to be? Because we pampered them all the way till 18, 20. You know how hard it is for this kid to get married, to keep a woman or to keep a husband, and to actually serve one another, to do all the chores of the house, or to bring salaries to this house, to pay off all the bills, and then to have your problems between yourselves. You know how hard it is for a pampered child to do that. It is really tough. What the modern research says is that if 2 out of 10 times you said yes to children for the extra demands that they made to you, and 8 out of 10 times you said no to them, then your child or your children will grow up to be grateful, to be thankful, and to be patient. Because they know that in life, most things you can't get. They know that life doesn't come cheap. Life is something you have to work for, you have to earn. And those children will grow up knowing that, you know what, there's things in life that I will have to try hard to get. And if I try hard enough, I'll get it. If not, I'll be patient, because throughout my life, I never got what I wanted anyway most of the time. You guys understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah? So this is the thing about getting the balance right with them, is that we can't show too much love, we can't show too less love. There are other parents who go to the other extreme. Other extreme is that they scorn their children, sometimes they beat their children, sometimes they do all sorts of things. That's again going to cause you a lot of problems. Because those children will grow up with hate, with anger. They will grow up, saying, I want my freedom. I want to get out, I want to break away from this. They'll even go an extra mile and probably reject you, your culture, and maybe even your religion, because of the harsh treatment that they got. Both sides are not good. Both sides are damaging. Balance is key. If you can get that balance, inshallah, you'll see that the children will actually grow up. They'll love you. And you know what? I was actually a bit scared with my children going through a particular age. That age was from 12 to 14 for boys and 11 to 13 for girls, right? Because at that age, their hormones are kicking in and they're getting all this kind of turbulence going on in their bodies, and they kind of feel that they become a man or they become a woman, right? Alhamdulillah, what I can say is that so far so good. My oldest son is in the middle of those ages, and I'm not seeing the backlash. Why? Because whatever I did with the children, I made sure that it came gradually in. Whatever I put in place, I made sure that it stayed there. So for example, when it came to Salah, at the age of, my child when he was young, he used to try and pray with us. We never made the child make sure that he prays with us beneath the age of 7. When he came to the age of 7, I said to him, your birthday present is going to be a big thing. He said, what is it? And by the way, I've never celebrated a birthday, and I've never given anything on them on birthdays. But you're going to say, Sheikh, I said, no, because throughout the year, I'm always gifting my children. There's no occasion, there's no set date, there's no set moment, there's no set month, nothing. Whenever I want, I feel like it, I'll gift him. It's a surprise. My dad's gifted us, he's bought some toys, he's given some nice, he's taken us for a treat, okay? But they can't say to me, oh dad, it's at this moment, you're supposed to give us a treat. No, there's no such thing. I'll give it whenever I want, it's up to me. So, because they get gifts throughout the year, when it comes to the birthday, we don't need to celebrate, we don't need to. Because they're not like kids waiting for the big birthday, I'm going to get 20 toys on birthday. No, you've already ended up with some of that throughout the year. So I said the big birthday present you're going to get is, from now on, at the age of 7, you're going to be able to pray one salah properly with your father. So I pumped it up before it got to 7. You're going to be able to pray one salah. It's a very big thing, right? And it's excited. I'm going to pray. So go and do your wudu. Now, you choose a salah that is very comfortable. You can say, you're going to pray maybe, if it's a winter, then it could be Maghrib. If it's the summer, you can say it's going to be Dhuhr or something, or Asr. So you say, this one salah, you pray with me. Fine. Any other extra salah he wants to do, it's not, at this moment, it's not compulsory. He's watching dad pray, he's watching mom pray, but for him, he knows he doesn't have to pray except for once. When he got to 8, we said 2 salahs a day. Near the end of 8, we said 3 salahs a day. When he got to 9, we said 4 salahs a day. When he got to 10, we said, now you have to do 5 salahs a day. By that time, it was in the system. It was in the system to get up, to do wudu, to pray. When it's salah time, we drop everything in the house, we come, we pray together in jama'ah and so on. And they know that that's the system. Now with the daughter and with the son, after that, again, the same system. We never made it compulsory on them to do something, except when you give them a lot of encouragement. They're watching the mom wear hijab, seeing the mom and dad pray. They know that this is the normal thing, but they're not told they must do it at an early age. But slowly, by being told, slowly being taken into this, by the age of, let's say, 10, your daughter, or by the age of 11, your daughter should be wearing full hijab. But you never made it compulsory at a very early age. Like some parents go OTT. So the kid's only 4 or 5. And you're making them put a hijab on all day in a wedding, going around, running around, they're getting hot anyway, and they're going to probably try and take it off because they're hot. And now you say, no, put it back on. You're a Muslim. We Muslims wear hijab. It's fine, yes, we are Muslims and we do wear hijab. But the kid is 4 or 5. The kid is boiling now because they'll be running around. And all kids at weddings, they all run around after a little while and they're going in and out and so on, and they're going to get hot. So now you're trying to keep this thing on and they're trying to take it off, and then you tell them off for it, and then you say that every time you go out with me, you're going to take a hijab. They'll obey you, don't get me wrong, they'll obey you, but did you perhaps get it a little bit wrong? Because by the time they get to 8 and 9 and 10, it's been 4 or 5 years at a young age having to wear this every time they're going out. Maybe at that time they don't want this thing on their head. Maybe if you had gradually, because it's not even compulsory till the age of 10, 11 anyway, till they reach the age of puberty. It's not compulsory on them till they reach the age of puberty. But you don't want to leave it too late. Like if you never tell them about hijab, if you never make them wear it, like for example, what we did with our daughter is we made her wear it sometimes, we never made her wear it other times. And we gradually encouraged her. So some functions she never wore it, some she did, and if she took it off because she was hot, okay, leave her. And then we encouraged her again. So sometimes you make her, sometimes you encourage her. And what you do is this, see girls, and even boys, they need the confidence of this thing with them. So what we did with our daughter a lot, we said, you're pretty, but when you put your hijab on, you're very pretty. See, when you say that, they're like, oh, I want to wear it now because I'm very pretty with my hijab on. And it's true, when you look at little girls wearing hijabs, they do look very pretty with their hijabs on. So you're not lying about it, you're not trying to butter them up and make them wear it. You're being very honest about it. But you know what, when you make those statements, they actually like wearing them. They're very confident. Like with my boys and the jubba and the hat, I had to tell them, when you wear this, mashallah, look how good you look at this. You buy them nice jubbas, you give them, you make them wear it, you go proud to the masjid. You say, you made me proud today, you're looking like daddy, daddy's wearing one, you're wearing one. We both look the same. Look, you look like me, I look like you. Right? When they got this kind of thing going on, they're like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I want to be like my dad. I want to be like this. So the thing is, they need all of this encouragement. You can't just turn around and say, hey, come here, jubba, hat, masjid, get over there. You don't ever go to the masjid without it. You don't ever do that. Oh my God. Can you imagine how terrifying it is to hear that? I'll wear 10 jubbas at once if you want, at that age. But you'll see when they get to 15, when they get to 14, 15, 16, they're like, well, I don't want to wear this. I was forced. You make anything that is forced for children to do, they will not want to do. Now, I want to quickly say something before I forget. First thing was this time out with my kid to get his discipline. Now I've found a brilliant time out, a brilliant way of getting discipline with all the children. I want to say to you one thing, guys, is that please, with all these technologies, do not feel you're obliged to give them 24/7 access, or let's just say Monday and Friday evenings access, weekends access to these technologies. You are not obliged. In fact, Monday to Friday, you can say no technology. Complete, no technology. Nobody, there's no TVs, there's no pads, there's no phones, there's no games, and nothing. And I've actually held this in my house for the last probably 5-6 years. Before that, we had, let them play, here, let them play. You know what happens? Every time you let them play, as soon as you make them stop playing, they start fighting with each other. Why? Because they're energetic. They've had all these chemicals going on in their brains. They're like, don't technology. Okay, you technology. Do you understand? It's like they just can't, they're not really too excited. So what we did is, and then homework, they can't concentrate on homework. They don't do things properly. So what we said is, ban. But what we did is, you can't just leave them banned without anything else. So again, look, think about the balance. They've got to do something. So we bought them arts and craft. We gave them drawings, we bought them dots to dots, we bought them colorings, we bought them games they can play together, board games they can play together. Sometimes we get in together with the board game, sometimes they play themselves. And of course, they're going to play for 10-15 minutes, then they're going to have a little argument about whose rule, in the game should be observed, and then all things scrambled. It doesn't matter, at least you got 15 minutes out of it, right? I even got a foosball table, I got table tennis top, put on the table, then you can just play table tennis. a pool table and so on that can convert to another one. And you bring these things because they need something outside of that time. Then one of them going to drawings, fine, you encourage them to drawings, bring them some more books. Because what it's doing is at least it's making them grow in the mental capacity, making them grow in terms of education, making them grow in terms of, it's a lot of sabr to sit there and to create something, arts and craft. It's a lot of sabr, it's creativity as well for the brain. It's better than being on this game. Now, what we then said is, we said, on the weekends we're going to allow them to play, but we're going to have limited amount of time. So in the mornings they'll come to like Safar Academy. As soon as they go, they'll play for a little bit. Then we say switch it off. When we say switch it off, it's switch it off. So if they're going to literally just finish that last game, the last piece fine, then they know straight away switch it off. Because if they go beyond that, then there's going to be trouble. So then we'll make them do some homework, make them do something else, have a break, whatever it is, and then let them play again a little bit more, and then as soon as it's evening time, switch it off again, and get ready for bed or get ready for something else, right? And if on the weekends we have to go to any social function, then they know there's no games that weekend. Doesn't matter, khalas, finished. No complaints, because if they complain, my house is such that if you complain about something, you say, okay, fine, you want to complain about this? No problem, you're not getting it. I had this rule early on in my house, and alhamdulillah, it's really worked to get the balance right. So any of my children that never ate anything, they had to eat it. You might think, oh, that's harsh. No, it's not harsh. It's actually good. My children never liked vegetables. Whose children likes vegetables? Only the parents that feed them vegetables. Do you understand? If your child doesn't like a particular vegetable or few vegetables, you give it to them. If they don't want to eat it, no problem. That's the only food you got today. Prison service. Boot camp, whatever you want to call it. Now if you don't want to eat it now, no problem, go and play. No problem, go play. Enjoy life. When you're hungry, that's your food today. You think a child is going to stay without food for 24 hours? No way. My daughter never liked oranges. She's almost like choking. I said, no, you're going to have it. I slowly gave her oranges. Now she loves oranges. She's been loving oranges for the last 6-7 years. Any child that says in my house, I don't like it, they know they have to have it. And there's no qualms about it because that's your food for today. You're going to have it. So if as parents you can take that on yourself, you know what? It's brilliant for the rest of the life because now they eat everything. Now you haven't got a problem. You can go to any house, any country you want, any part of the world you want, any other relative's house, and whatever they get, they're happy to eat everything. Don't make children always addicted to rice or addicted to chapatis or addicted to a particular type of bread or pasta, whatever it is. Don't get them addicted to it. I don't know what happened to me when I was young. I'm a Bengali, Sileti, and you know what happened to me. We had to have rice. No matter what happened, you can have fish and chips outside, but you come home, you still have to have rice, because if you haven't had rice, you're not full. That's what they said to us. So we had to eat the rice. Even though you're stuffed with fish and chips, you had to have the rice, because fish and chips does not fill you up. Rice fills you up. Okay, Dad, I'm eating this. Right? It was torture. And then what happened is, as I grew up, I didn't realize, but then you're addicted to rice. You can't, like Pakistanis, they have to have rotis. If they have rotis, then they're full. If they don't have rotis, they're not full. Bengalis, if they don't have rice, they're not full. When they have rice, ab khana aa gaya. Now the food's here. You can feed them whatever else you want before that, but when they have their food, they've got that. Why take a generation through that? We're living in the 21st century. We're in London or we're in the UK. Guys, the world is yours. Okay? Don't try and contain these kids in certain things. Then you find out that all the Bengalis that are in their 50s, they're either diabetic, or they've got cholesterol, or they've got blood pressure. Am I speaking the truth or not? Because the rice all their life, and then the pan as well, together contains some concussion that goes in there for this many years, and then it ends up like that. A lot of Mauritians, for example, they have problems in the arteries with a lot of fat building up. Why? Because the meat they put in the biryani, they never cut the fat off. They have it with the full fat on and they love it. You go to Mauritius, I haven't been there, but the Mauritians have told me that the ICU has got a lot of these people inside there because, too many biryanis with a lot of fat inside it. I mean, because it's a tradition, you've always been using it. You end up that a lot of Pakistanis, they have bowel problems because they have too much red meat. In a typical Pakistani house, you got too much red meat almost every day. You have that for 40 years. The bowel can't take it. It takes, I think they said it takes 16 days for the red meat to digest in your stomach, fully, stomach. And I don't know how I haven't looked at research, by the way. I've just heard that, right? I've just heard that. I haven't looked in the research, but it certainly takes longer to digest than chicken or something else. And if you've done that for 40 years, you're going to have problems with your bowels. Of course, you're going to have bowel problems at the age of 40 something. A lot of these ladies, you look at them at the age of 40, all of a sudden, they were good. Please don't give me no offense to any. It happens to men sometimes as well, and ladies it happens as well. So please don't. Oh my God, misogynist. Oh my God, it's fine. I can say anything about men. You can go on live, Facebook, whatever. The whole world's fine. I can diss all of you like all day. The whole way, yeah, go get him, Sheikh, go get him. The moment I say, women, oh my God, he's misogynist, he's feminist, he's like. So look, what you observe is sometimes you observe some of these women, when they get to a certain age, 40, 50, all of a sudden, they start putting weight on, a lot of weight on, excessive weight on. And then the question is, what's your health, what's your lifestyle like? How much are you actually walking? How much are you actually walk are you doing? How much are you actually getting out there and walking? Because when we were out there in other countries, we used to do that every day. You had to do it. But here you've just got your 3-bedroom house. You're in there all day, most of the days. All you're doing is taking the children to school, taking them back, taking the mosque, giving them back, and a bit of shopping, coming back, and that's it. And then a lot of us, what we don't do again is we're not watching the amounts that we're going to eat. So again, look, bring it back to children again. As these children grow, we've got to make sure that they have a balance in their diet, balance in their emotions, balance in, the way that the religion is put inside them. If you can get all of that in your children, you have done a wonderful job as parents. Probably the biggest gift you can give to your children. The Islamic knowledge that we're giving, all you have to do is have a little bit of a timetable with 5 minutes a day to 10 minutes a day. That's all it's going to cost you. Before you go to sleep, pick up your child's Islamic studies book. I don't care if you know this stuff or you feel you know this stuff. I want you to just read one chapter before you go to sleep. Just read one chapter before you go to sleep. And every night, read another chapter of the book that you've got. Before you go to sleep, look at the du'as that are in there. And alhamdulillah, I have to announce here that our du'a app is ready. Inshallah, by next week it will be launched. Both on Android and iOS. I know a lot of you have been waiting for a long time. So it's going to be an app where you can listen to the du'as, recite with the qari, and learn it direct. And the English is also there. So what I want to say is that if you could put aside 5 to 10 minutes a day, learning the du'as that your children know, then what you do is, you just need to implement that little by little. I'll give you a typical thing, what my children do in my house, because I have to also do the same thing. I'm not any different from you. I get my children to say the du'as loudly. So all the du'as they're doing in the du'as in Surah's book, just make them say loudly. So when they're eating, Bismillah wa barakatillah, when they finish, Alhamdulillah alladhi, razaqani hadha min ghayri hawlin minni, or at'amani hadha wa razaqanihi min ghayri hawlin minni wa la quwwa. They say the dua loudly, and then, all the other adab, like, put your plate over there, whether you want to wash the plate, whether to put in the dishwasher, get them to do those habits, and then, let's say, for example, they're coming out the door. When they're coming out the door, Bismillah tawakkaltu ala Allah, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. All my kids in my car, as soon as I'm putting the engine on, Subhanallah, sakhara lana hadha wa ma kunna lahu muqrin. I'm saying loudly, they all say it, and then they'll say the other dua, they'll say, Allahumma inna nas'aluka fi safarina hadha al-birra wa taqwa wa min al-amali ma tarda. That's in the second book, okay? All these duas, if you know what they are, your children are gradually going to do them. You just need to stay up with them and do it. My oldest son, I've given him a whole set of du'as he's learned from those books that he must say in the morning as I'm driving him to school.
Okay, and these are all in the books. They're all in the books, and they've been mentioned there that they are part of the du'as that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to do in the morning. Okay, or it's encouraged, it says there that do it in the morning after Fajr, and it says do it in the evening. So he will start off with one dua after another dua after another dua. He'll read his Ayatul Kursi, he'll read his Quls and whatever. I get him to do that. Naturally, he'll do that, and it's part of it. He gets, alhamdulillah, he gets up for Fajr. Just like he's got his own alarm for Fajr, he'll get up for Fajr. Sometimes he'll try to wake me up, sometimes I'll wake him up. Okay, it's got to be a part of a whole family, household thing. You can't just say, okay, fine, it's so-and-so's problem, the teachers have to get them to do this. How are we supposed to do that? We're not even there for Fajr. You want us to climb in your window or something and wake them up? 7 days a week we're not there. You're there for Fajr. We've got to get up for our own Fajr and get them up for Fajr. Right? And then the different salahs throughout the day. Not only salah. Then you've got, let's say for example, like I said to you, most of the day when they're with you, just get the balance right with tarbiyah. Don't give them too much love, don't give them too less love, don't give them too much of anything. Let them, when the emotions go a bit off balance, okay, just get it balanced again. Just get it balanced. Once you've got it balanced, alhamdulillah, move on. You'll see your children will respect you, your children will love you, your children will want to be around you, your children will speak to you, they'll speak to you about their problems, they'll speak to you about things going on. And if they've got a problem, look, I'll tell you, look, a very easy way of dealing with things is, don't react to the great emotions that your children might play to you. I might go on for maximum, I think 11 o'clock I'm going to finish, okay? I know we said 10:45, but 11 o'clock we'll be finished. It's another 6 minutes or something. So, what I want to say, just yesterday or 2 days ago, my daughter came crying, she came stomping down the stairs, like, come straight down the stairs, she said, and started crying, and then it came straight onto me, and she leapt onto me and held me, and I said, what are you crying for? I'm too. She said, oh, there's a spider in my room, the spider in my room. I said, why are you crying? I said, first stop crying. So I was reading something, I said, I'm reading. You stop crying first. So she's like, I said, why are you reacting? I said, calm down. It's only a spider. Calm down. So then it took her about 5 minutes for her to calm down. I said, will you go? I said, your voice is quivering. This is me. Look, you got to get the balance of why you see a spider, and you go, let me react to your reaction. Then it's like, yeah, I shouldn't cry for these things. No. So I went upstairs after she calmed down, looked for the spider, couldn't find it. I said, I can't find the spider. Fine. I said, just get on. And she wouldn't want to go in her room. I said, go in your room right now and go and grab that laptop of yours. Go in another room, sit down, no problem. You got to go in there and you got to grab your laptop. So I made her do it. I remember another time, one of the kids was scared to go upstairs. So I made him go upstairs. Scared to go upstairs at night time. Made him go upstairs at night time. Scared to go upstairs because the light's not there. You teach them, put the light on, whatever, go upstairs, go and grab that thing, come back down, it's fine. There's nothing here. Right? Remember going to the park. And then the dogs, and what about? No, look, dogs are around, look, you learn how to stand. Don't react, don't go, start run away. No, just be normal, just stand. The saliva is something that is not not something that we should have on our clothes, but the fur, if it touches it, if they sniff you, it's fine. You just stand there. And then I taught him a dua. Now this dua, again, you won't find it in the sunnah, but somebody taught it to me while I was young, and I've always read the dua, nothing's ever happened. Okay, Surah number 18, Surah Kahf, ayah number 18, there's a dua there that the people of the cave said. Sorry, Allah said about the people of the cave, وَكَلْبُهُمْ بَاسِطٌ ذِرَاعَيْهِ بِالْوَصِيدِ. Their dog is basically got the arms in front of it, stretched out at the mouth of the cave. وَكَلْبُهُمْ بَاسِطٌ ذِرَاعَيْهِ بِالْوَصِيدِ. Allah said that. So somebody told me while I was young, just read that dua and the dog won't come near you, or he won't come right up to you. So I'll be reading that dua, really fine. And then I taught my kids the dua. Every time they go to the park, they read the dua, they're fine. And they're fine. Let dogs be around, whatever, let them enjoy it. Because you don't want kids or anyone to grow up into adulthood and they've got a fear or a phobia of something. Why? What's the point of if you react to the phobia and you kind of get scared as well, and you're like, oh, I'm going to do this, then you got a problem. I remember when I got married, my wife, she had a real problem with spiders. She had a phobia, and her phobia came because her brother, twin brother, when she was young, once or twice, he knew, kids, they prank each other. So he pranked her and he actually put a real spider on her a couple of times, right? And that really freaked her out, and since then she's been really scared of spiders. So I got married, now I've got a real big problem. My problem is if there's a spider somewhere, it's like the whole house will stop. So then I had to teach her, like, look, this is a spider, this is how you do it. Now first I said, look, grab the broomstick. Grab the broomstick, you know, the thing's that small, you got the broomstick, bang, 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 whatever, you know, learn how to do that. Then of course I'm traveling, so I travel for 3 days, and sometimes there might be a little spider that's popped out somewhere. What do? Then I taught her how to take glass and put it over the spider. You know, just at least, you know, contain it till I come back. Then after, you know, till I come back and then I deal with it, right? Because you got a problem if you can't teach them certain things, if they can't do it themselves, you've got a real problem. Then now, alhamdulillah, you know, it's a lot more better than what it was. Now, I want to say to you with these children, look, they won't be scared of anything. They won't be scared of any of these things. The only time they get scared is when they see an adult reacting or talking in a scared manner about this thing, and then they get scared. So if you can get the balance right with all of these behaviors and things with the children, and whatever they've learned in the Islamic studies, please just read that, find out what is said. Because a lot of times your children are challenging you about something which, you know what, we haven't even written in the books. Nor did we ever teach them. Sometimes they tell you, oh, sir said this, teacher said this, da, da, da. You know what? Come and talk to us, whether we said it or not. Go and read the books, whether it's there or not. And then find out whether they should be challenging you in your house about this thing, right? Now, if you got that right, inshallah, we've had we would have done our job right. I'm going to open now to Q&A, for a short Q&A. Please put your hands up and ask whatever question you want. Come on, guys. Sure, after that good session, you should have questions that are bouncing in your head. Yes?
In terms of the child answering back, how do you combat the issues when they're just going to go to school and they obviously get bad habits?
Yep.
From through. They just know those habits at home. So you can't really chat back at them like a 10-year-old boy.
Yep.
So you taught them throughout the years what the expectations are. So when they would take class, how two dynamics go.
Very good. Very good question. So just for the point of the camera and for the sisters as well, if your child is in school learning back chat and then comes home and gives you the back chat, or if they go to their cousin's house and they're picking up certain habits or from the outside world, how do you deal with it in your own household? Very good question. And before I say that, there's something I wanted to mention earlier, which is a new discipline method I found. And it works brilliantly. You know those couple of hours, or the 2-3 hours we give on a Saturday, or 2-3 hours on a Sunday that we give for their games, right, to my children? What we say throughout the week is if you do something, if you misbehave, or if you don't do something that we've told you to do, we're going to knock off 15 minutes off your playtime. 15 minutes. So each time you do something we don't want you to, like you're late for school, or let's say you didn't clean up, tidy up, or you did something to the other sibling of yours which you shouldn't do, you lied, whatever it might be, okay? 15 minutes off, right? Now, you know what? That hurts more than anything else. I don't know why, but it hurts more. It's like, no, don't take my 15 minutes, no. Anything but that. And you know what? Once you give a threat as a parent, you must follow it through. That is a very important thing that you need to take with you today. You can't give blank threats. If you give blank threats, then they'll know that, you know what, oh, mommy will let me off. And once you've said this is going to happen, just make it happen. Don't go easy on them after that. Don't say, oh yeah, if you're good again, I'll do this for you, take this off for you, I'll give you extra. No. If you've given that threat, and they went and broke the rule, and they faced that thing, then they have to face whatever threat it was. Just follow it through for 1 week, you'll see. Next week, inshallah, they won't do it. I remember once, subhanallah, I was really tired. Because a lot of the times I'm traveling. So I traveled and I came back home really late. I must have prayed my Fajr and then gone to sleep. And you know, when you pray Fajr and go to sleep, you're going to have a heavy sleep at 8 in the morning, right? So it was a Saturday morning, and my kids got up in the morning. They knew I was heavily sleeping, and they thought, you know what? let's not wake him up. Because we don't have to go to Maktab, we don't have to, go to Safar Academy, we'll get it. So by the time I realized it was like 9 o'clock, I got out of bed and I said, hey, please go. And they're slowly moving around. I think, all right, no problem. So I got him ready. I took him to Safar Academy. Right, I'm the head of Safar Academy telling you this, right? Took him to Safar Academy. And I said, look, just say that, whatever, your dad always said, whatever he was, okay, you just take him in. I took him in. They came home and they're all ready, all excited to play the games. And I said, what games? They said, games. No. You kids don't wake me up in the morning for your Islamic studies. I'm going to, your Quran studies. And you want me to then pamper you with all these games? Not happening. All day, I never let them play. You know what? Since that day, rain or shine, they wake me up. Alhamdulillah. They wake me up. It's time to go. It's time to go. We're going to get them trans. Okay, good. Okay. See, one day, you just do one day, it works. Now, back to the brother's question. How do you answer? Now, what we say to them is, we say, whatever happens outside there, happens outside there. It's wrong outside there, but it's definitely impossible for you to do that in my house. So it's true, what you're saying exactly is true, that the kids, my kid came home one day and said, oh, my friend Jeff, has got a TV in his room. My friend Jeff, he can do this. My friend Jeff. And I said, yeah, your friend Jeff is your friend Jeff. And your friend Jeff's house is your friend Jeff's house. And his parents are his parents. And whatever they do over there is their business. Right? My thing is here. Then, you know what, he was so thinking that, he actually came one day to us while he was in primary school and said, Dad, he said, when am I going to get TV in my room? Like, what, in your room? TV in your room? Because that friend has it, that friend has it. I'm like, no, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. In fact, smartphone. I said I haven't given my child a smartphone. He's 13 years old. All his friends have smartphones. Practically almost the school has smartphones. But I had to sit with him. Look, the thing is, you have to explain to them, right? I said, look, son, you're going to get a smartphone one day. I will give it to you. I will give you a laptop. I mean, he's got a laptop, but he's just got a normal laptop. He wanted one of the Macs, like I've got a Mac, he wanted a Mac. I said, not now. I said, you'll get one, but as far as a smartphone is concerned, you're not going to get one now, because if you get on there, you're going to have social media, and once you have social media, you're going to be chatting to your friends. Once you chat to your friends, you're going to get more into this. Then there's all sorts of problems that come with cyberbullying, there's also things, and your homework and your study is going to get affected the most. And I explained this several times. Alhamdulillah, at least my wife was backing me up in all of this, right? So we haven't given it. And we don't intend to give it till beyond this secondary school that is in. And the day I do give it, I'm going to share the passcode with him and me, so that for the first few years he has it, I can try and navigate him through with his iman to protect his iman. I'm surprised that 75% of parents that give smartphones to their 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old children, they haven't even got the passcode. I'm absolutely baffled. How can you do that? And the Wi-Fi is there. They can go anywhere on the internet. They can watch any haram, listen to any haram, suck in any haram. And you know what? They won't tell you for the first few years. But it's too late, then you'll know. But it'll be too late to turn, right? So what it is, like in their cousin's house, some of their cousin's house, man, they've got really easy, relaxing rules. And they come home and they say, look, how come my cousin so-and-so gets to do this, my cousin, and you don't like you? Look, I said, look, we say, watch your cousins, that we love them, that's fine, that's their problem, that's their house. But I said, you will see certain behaviors later on from their lives, which you won't see from your lives, right? And that's how life is. And alhamdulillah, once we talk them into it a few times, we kind of, they kind of understand that, that stays over there, this is this house. Rules for this house is good for us, for our future. And you keep on drilling that inside, that when you grow up, inshallah, you'll thank me one day. You'll thank me one day, because I'm being honest with you, like my father was OTT on the strict side. Okay? Now I got a very strict father, but you know what? I'm actually quite glad today I had a father that at least was there to do that with me, because I was destined to be a very naughty, I was a naughty child anyway, right? But as I was growing up, I was heading the path of going into a very bad, very bad sort of line, if you like, of life. And if it wasn't for my dad, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be talking to you here today. I'd be, some of my friends went into prison, put it that way. By the time they got to 18, I think they went to prison. And by 18, I was in madrasa, studying, Islamic studies and the Quran, studying Salah. By that time, I was hafiz. And my father, made sure I stayed in there. And I'm very, very thankful to my father. Although I didn't really have a good relationship with my father in that sense, but of communication. But I'm very, very glad that my father was there for me and he did that. Okay. Go on.
How do you educate your wife and partner without having sex? That the modern colony creates the lack of independence in a child as they grow older, and the kind of instant gratification of, like I said, the breakfast example was a good one. Like, you've got a child who should be doing it themselves, and they can't. The wife especially gets angry that they can't do it, but it's because they kind of modern colony to that point.
Yeah.
And you've got two kids, the other one's more model of the older one.
Yeah.
So now you don't have to be one, you be three.
Yes. It's a problem.
So how do you get the wife to kind of understand that, without blaming her, but saying what we can do to change it and explaining that?
Sometimes you have to step in and you have to just take over. Just take over for a free breakfast yourself. Just say, look, I'm going to talk to you first for the next few breakfasts. You just make sure that, you just observe, or don't just let me do everything. You take a week, take 2 weeks to teach them how to do that thing. Let them make the mistakes and so on. And then when you show that, look, they can do it themselves, alhamdulillah, job done. Sometimes you just have to step in and tell them to step out. Show it to them. They'll learn, because they need to learn as well that this can be done. I've seen parents, when it comes